Hello and welcome to the show. We start this week's Failrace episode with Thebestginge on GTA 5. The start of a stunt race. Contact in the air does normally lead into disaster, and that is definitely the case here. Well, it should be the case here. It's an amazing sequence of events, from spinning to twisting to pirouetting to almost getting fired off the ramp with a boost pad, and somehow, through all of that, getting away with it. Honestly, that's some of the most luck I've seen at the start of a GTA race in a long time. Doorhinge is up next on State of Decay 2, and I know what you're expecting vehicles to do on this game, but no. This time around, it's just parked. Parked between the floor and a sign, and I don't think that's going to be able to go anywhere very easily. It's not ideal for your truck. Hedor is up next on Gran Turismo 7 with a notorious bump. I mean, if you've driven this circuit, you know this bump. It causes all sorts of chaos. This time, though, it's a pretty damn good recovery, actually. I've seen plenty of cars roll, and I fully expected that to be what this clip was. When I see this track, I just assume it's someone rolling off of that bump. This time, though, no, they actually managed to avoid the roll. It was perhaps a little bit too much steering in the air, kind of predicting what the car's going to be doing on the landing, and sort of overcorrected, and the car just snapped the other way. However, very good recovery. Didn't touch a wall or anything. It just sort of span, and yeah. Of all the possible things that could have gone wrong on that bump, if they're going to go wrong, that's one of the best outcomes, in fact, that you will come across. Calvintola is up next on Assetto Corsa. Now, they are driving one of the classic Grand Prix cars. These things are not the easiest things in the world to drive. It's a little bit of understeer, followed by a little bit of oversteer, clips the wall, and then physics has had enough and launches it. Not quite. Doesn't quite make its way all the way into the pit lane. But it's still a pretty good flight. Round High is up next on Assetto Corsa, and they are doing a spot of drifting. And now this, by the looks of it, not the easiest of places to go drifting. It's quite narrow and everything, and, well, as you expect, things go wrong. Of course, it's Failrace at the end of the day. In this instance, as they try and get it through this next corner, they actually get too much on the inside, launch it off the dirt banking, and have an accident. The thing that's impressive, though, is the speed. It quickly breaks the game, but that is 200 billion miles an hour or kilometers. I think it could even go further because the speedo's actually cut off. That is the highest speed ever achieved, I think, in one of these in a very weird way. We move next to CarX Drift Racing. Different kind of fail when it comes to... Now, this is the Failrace drift, as we call it, when you manage to somehow roll the car mid-drift and land on the wheels and carry. The fact that the drift's not really stopped for the Corvette here is actually, I say, quite impressive. So yeah, they get it a bit wrong going through here, ends up a bit too wide, clips the curb, and that's just enough to launch the Corvette over, but it keeps the drift going. So bonus points from the Failrace judge. Probably terrible points for proper drifting. However, yeah, I give it bonus points because that's pretty damn cool. Immortal Egg is up next on the long drive. Now, they are trying to sort out some fuel, as you do. Now, they heard a rabbit and they were looking around for it. Couldn't really see anything, so weren't thinking much of it. Then suddenly Rabbit appears, attacks the oil drum, and vanishes. This is the world's luckiest player of the long drive. You can carry on with your business of dealing with fuel tanks. Yes, the Rabbit actually launched itself. It killed itself on the barrel. It ran at the person, killed itself on the barrel. Immortal Egg living up to the name, quite frankly. Zack Attack is up next on BeamNG Drive, doing a speed run. We know how this goes. It's always difficult when you're doing 240 mile an hour in Beam. And I know what you're expecting, because I know what I was expecting at this point. It's across the grass, bounces it off the dirt, somehow does a roll, lands on the wheels, and can still drive and can still carry on. You don't get away with many 240 mile an hour crashes on Beam, I can tell you that much. I mean, it's not perfect condition, but still, considering what occurred, yeah, that's quite good going. VolvoBrickFan is up next on BeamNG Drive. Now, they're playing around with the Mr. Turbo Covet with some AI traffic when the game decides no more fun for you. Decides to spawn a Pazima where the Covet was. And now they're fused together, and that is the end of that bit of fun, really. RcCookie is up next on BeamNG Drive, and they have got the Piccolino. I actually remember this time trial course. I don't know whether it's more or whether it's a default one, but it looks probably is a default one. I've probably just not done any of the scenarios. Either way, it's a really technical little course for the tiny Italian car. You've got to weave through alleyways and around obstacles and all of that. And the Piccolino wants to go for a little bit of a stunt. Yeah, I mean, it's costing a little bit of time. It's not the worst, though. Just bounces, does a front flip, or does a sort of roly-poly and can carry on. All is fine. All is fine. Nothing really broken. And finally, we have Gunbladelad on Driver. Now, this is doing the survival mission. Basically, you've got to try and survive for as long as possible while the police are trying to wreck your car. And this, in all honesty, not off to a great start. The Failrace Police Department are in full effect. And the car's taken a fair bit of damage. One of the cars launched into a roll over the top of them. But up until this point, everything's going kind of as you would expect. And then things stop going, as you would expect. First of all, one of the police cars, and I don't quite know how, ends up on its roof. It then kind of gets pushed down this hill into the player car. It is continuing to slowly roll its way. In the Failrace Police Department, they have their ways that none of us truly understand. And I mean, the attempt at stopping the getaway car with an upside-down police car was an interesting one. However, things have got weirder. Yes, because for whatever reason, the police are a lot more interested in this building than they are in the player car. Now, it does make the game mode considerably more easy when all the police cars want to do is crash into the wall. That makes that, you know, you can probably survive indefinitely at this point because they are just determined to crash into the wall. I mean, they've made a mess of the random AI traffic around the place as well. But yeah, they've just completely given up in terms of chasing the player car. Now, I don't know if some of them have got broken at this point. Perhaps they have. There's certainly still one moving. I mean, yeah, it's an old game. The resolution's not going to be great, okay? But yeah, weirdness abound going on up there, and this just carries on. They never figure out what they're doing. They go to slowly crashing into the wall. It looks like that turquoisey car. Oh no, there is a fire in the sort of green estate car. I think the turquoisey car's on fire as well. So random traffic cars are heavily They're just, yeah. The Failrace Police Department, everybody, doing what they do best and being weird and confusing and often not very effective. But there we go. That is going to be it for this video. As ever, if you have clips you'd like to submit to this series, you can via a Google form. There'll be a link to it in the description. All the rules and how it works can be found on there. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.